Hello, hello. I think we're on. Yes, it says live. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody is amazing. My voice is at about 83%. I don't think it's going to get up to, 95, 100 during this live stream. I've already told Brad, unfortunately, you're going to have to do probably a lot of the talking, which is going to be fairly annoying to the majority of the audience, but that's just what we're going to have to do tonight until I can heal. It is Thursday. I can't believe it. This week has absolutely flown by for me. And so, yes, I've got Brad, the comeback card investor. He is on with me. We're doing our bi-weekly off-centered show. And actually, well, let me go ahead and bring him in here. Let's go ahead and throw him in.
What a powerful introduction, Dustin. Hey, guys.
I worked on that for 3 hours this morning.
If you stop producing so much content and just worked on a simple but elegant introduction, this would be a lot smoother than, hey, guys, let me just bring him in. I don't know what's going on.
You know what? I think that's the reason why people watch my show is because production value is so low. It's like watching Napoleon Dynamite compared to watching, like, I don't know, some Michael Bay production. You get kind of that. There's a kind of a fun authenticity to it that's a little bit different.
Here's the thing. You showed me what your new house looks like, and it's way better than that background that you have right there. I think you had to put up a fake boring wall just to do these videos because that house looked so elegant that there wouldn't be a plain, like, off-white wall without some sort of crown molding or elegant design on it. So I don't know what's going on over there. A lot of people in the comments section already. What's up, Mike? Bradley Helton? Michael
let's play.
Mahomes boy.
Alex, the global sports card investor. How you doing, buddy? Mike C, Michael Ham. All the Michaels showed up. Mahomes boy.
Yeah.
Anthony Pittsburgh. How you doing? Ryan D, Will.
And what's funny, Michael Ham, it says Brad will have to pee in 20 minutes. I actually just peed, and while I peed, a number 2 just came creeping out. So I was able to get that out of the way as well. So I'm good to go.
Lord, Brad's got, like, he's like the astronaut that's got the bag tied up to the suit or whatever.
It depends, man. Depends. It's like I got to just make it socially acceptable because right now it's still a bit embarrassing. But you know what? Like, dude, I've gone through at least I've gone through this whole thing today. There's a little bit left here at the bottom. But I just had my giant smoothie as well. So I don't know if you could hear. My voice is pretty dry too, though.
Which makes no sense because you're drinking 4 gallons of water a day. You're only supposed to drink like 1 gallon is good, man. You're going to like drown in that thing.
Well, you know what I heard? And seriously, I remember hearing that the more water you drink, the more your body needs to have that level of water. So it's one of those never-ending cycles where I have to have a lot of water just because my body craves that amount. But I think we should talk about cards at some point.
All right. Let's start actually with pickups. So I'm going to throw, I don't know if you have anything handy. I grabbed a few cards that I got in the mail. I have shown a couple of these on Instagram, but I'm going to go through just a couple because I don't think I've done it. Maybe I've done a mail day, but here's the first one. 2005 Exquisite Barry Sanders auto. It's numbered out of 35. It's 35 out of 35.
Beautiful. You know what? And honestly, that type of holder right there, what's that called? Just like the hard plastic.
It's a one touch.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it. That looks good. Honestly, sometimes I look at a lot of the slabs and I'm like, it kind of takes away from a good looking card. And that's a great looking card where a PSA's red label or SGC or CGS or one of those would just kind of distract me from how good the card looks. So, and the fact that that's horizontal, right?
Yeah, and it's also a thicker card. So I know that a lot of people say if you have kind of like a thick auto to send that to BGS. I don't know if it's got like a deeper, if that case has got a deeper hold, in it or whatever, as opposed to sending it to PSA. Or maybe just the grading is more favorable with BGS. I'm not sure, but I've heard that. Oh, okay. Your favorite guy. Here's my next one.
Drew Brees.
Yeah, it's a Brees. It's actually quad auto. So there's
who else?
So it's Brees, Marcus Colston, Michael Pittman, who was a random running back that we had that year.
Wait, Michael Pittman, the one that won the Super Bowl with the Bucks with the really giant guns?
I don't think it is that Michael Pittman.
It shouldn't be because I don't remember him ever playing for the Saints.
Oh, no, sorry. Antonio Pittman. Yeah,
Okay,
different
gotcha.
running back. Yeah, this is the back. It's Robert Meacham.
So, the one thing with those cards, I hate it when they have those dual player autos in most cases, because most cases you have one great player and then one absolute scrub. And I think even Tom Brady has a rookie card where it's like Tom Brady on one half and then some random person you'd never even hear of again on the other half. And it's not an auto or anything, but you're like, you kind of ruin the card because, there's one half that's just going to bring down the value and the appeal of the other half.
Well, I saw on that note, I was looking at Peyton Manning, and there was one that was a duel. It was like Peyton Manning and Jamarcus Russell duel. But it was cheaper. It was like on a discount thanks to Jamarcus Russell. So I'm like, well, I could get Peyton Manning's, autographed Exquisite. So yeah, I've been lately going with like Exquisite and National Treasures.
And what's the reason?
Just the scarcity of it. I made a video about it to where it's kind of like, if you have a card that's numbered out of 50 or out of 99 or 30 or whatever, does it even really matter if it's graded or not? If you can see that it's in decent condition. And what made me think of that is, I think it was on it was on a YouTube channel, Baseball Card Collector Investor Dealer, Chris, a guy that I've had on a lot. He's great. Your volume is way too high, Brad.
Is it?
There's a crazy echo coming through.
Really?
Okay. I'm like forgetting my story because I'm distracted by
what
you're doing.
Okay, so back to Exquisite and whatnot.
So he had on like his top 10 sales list. It was a Mahomes RPA that was raw, that was not graded, and it was like a $60,000 card raw. And even like a graded copy didn't really get that much more of a premium. So even though it was not a BGS 9 or PSA 9 or 10 or whatever, it still was getting top dollar because of the scarcity. So that's what I've been looking at is, can I get scarce cards at a cheaper price because they're raw and in decent condition? So that's what I've been doing.
I gotcha. And there was that, was it a LeBron Exquisite or something that was a BGS 9 or something like that? And it was still the record high price because it wasn't about it being a 9. It could have been a BGS 7. But what does it matter if there's only one of them or three of them or five of them in the world? Well, dude, and that's the only one for sale.
Nat Turner has that green PMG Michael Jordan that he bought a couple of years ago for $400,000. It's altered. It's in a PSA altered case. It's not even great. It doesn't even have a grade on it. It just says altered on it, and he paid $400,000 for it because there's only a handful.
When you think of what's the whole point of grading, a lot of it is to enhance scarcity, to say, hold on a second, there might be 5,000 of this card, but I want to make sure that mine or the one I buy is the top 5% of the 5,000. So all you're doing is taking something that's not as scarce and trying to find ways to make it more scarce by then looking at the condition of it. So if it's a card that is a number to 5 or 25, then it's already super scarce. Then it just goes another step further if you can get in a PSA 9 or a BGS 9.5 or a PSA 10. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's all it is.
Here's another one. So this one actually is a PSA 10, and it's a 2007 Favre Patch. It's not autoed, but it's numbered out of 50. Okay. But Exquisite. If you look, and the other thing too is like, and I was telling you this before the show, if like a box of 2007 Exquisite football is like $10,000 or whatever, like it's crazy money. It's like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, and there's only like 8 cards in the whole box. It's not like there's 50 cards in that box of Exquisite, or National Treasures for that matter. Like both of those sets, they've got like no cards in them, and so that's where I was like, okay. No one's opening sealed wax. Maybe Nat Turner's opening sealed wax because that's what he does. He's got the money to do it, and he'll open some rare stuff. But the average Joe's not opening a $6,000 box of NT or Exquisite. They're just going to sit on that and hope they can get 10 or 15 or 20,000 for it down the line.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. And plus, with how much of Prism and Optic and all the others that are available, the way I'm thinking right now too is, everything I'm hearing is, look, base cards, we're starting to see the true numbers coming back from PSA of the Zions and the Lucas and whatnot. And I mean, you go on eBay and you just look up a Zion PSA 10, and it's not that scarce because even though it's a PSA 10, there's like 20,000 of them, something like that. Yeah. And even Zion, he's collectible. He's had a good year. He's not Jordan. This isn't the Jordan rookie card. So it's like he still has a long way to go. But also, I'm tired of looking at a lot of these base cards. And my thought process is, even with Zion, who he's a player that I want to start investing in the offseason when his prices overall dip for next year, I'm probably not going to go to a base prism at all. I might look at a silver, but I think this is the time when we're a year in. Like a lot of us are a year to 2 years back into the hobby, but probably like 9 months to a year for a lot of us, where we're getting really familiar with the majority of the product out there, and we can be a bit more nuanced with some of the other, like the sets and the different cards and parallels that we can chase now, because we're starting to understand, okay, red cracked ice and red, white, and blue and camo prism and whatever. And we have data tools, we have card ladder, we have market movers, we have ways of like actually seeing how this compares to each other. Because before I was like, look, base and silver, and that's all I'm going to touch. And even though I'm buying primarily that stuff, I'm going to be a lot more confident going in on select concourse, I mean, or like tricolor or zebra print or something else, because now there's a lot more data behind it. And we're also looking at a lot more, we're at higher numbers of the prisms, to the point where we're like, all right, well, let me get something that there's only 500 of versus 20,000. And I think that's going to be a theme going into next year.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Now is the time where you can actually, the last 12 months pricing has been really high. And so the idea of getting colored Zion or colored Jaw or any of that stuff, it was like, well, I can barely afford a base PSA 10, let alone the other colors of the rainbow. And now you've got options. Now you're like, okay, maybe like where do I want to dig in?
Well, I think also now that you have a lot of the 2019 stuff back from PSA, and there's got to be still 10%, 20%, whatever, still at PSA. But now that the numbers are starting to form, you could actually make sense of the parallels. But, when Panini comes out with a new product and they have all these new parallels, it's too much of an unknown. I don't know how to interpret all of it, because, of course, it looks cool and it's exciting at first, but until it really settles down, I don't know how to take it. But going forward, I think looking at some of the optics, like the optic parallels, the select parallels, the prism parallels, and just looking at the ones that I still want sales history. I don't want anything where the last sale of the card is 5 months ago, because that's way too long. That's, that doesn't represent the value of the card. I want something where maybe there's 500 of them in PSA 10. I think that's going to be more of like my focus is what is 500 of or 1,000 of versus 15 or 20,000, where I have enough data points to actually make a decision, but I know that it's scarce enough that I'm not going to be in competition with 15,000 other people.
So this is kind of an interesting thing I was just thinking about. Andy, so this is Andy from Sports Card Investigator. Base cards are going to be more scarce going forward. He means graded base card, probably like graded base rookie cards for basketball, for example. So the thing that's kind of interesting there, and we see this with comic books too, where you have graded comic books that are getting a huge premium, but they're not necessarily rare. Like the actual book itself is not rare. So I wonder what that market is going to look like if it's, let's just say the minimum grade is $50, at PSA moving forward. Let's just say that because I really think that's going to be the case. I would be absolutely shocked if they have a $20 option, unless they just develop the technology in a couple of years to be able to zip through them. I just don't see that for a while.
I mean, just right there, I think there could be $20 to $25 per card because of how much they've expanded to catch up. And if they don't have a reasonable option, they're going to have to downsize again once they're caught up, because now you're only dealing with new product. I mean, they're catching up on 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s all now, and they've hired I don't know how many people. I think they have like 1,000 employees or something. That was in their newsletter. But if this backlog from all the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, whatever is gone, and they're only focusing on new product that's being ripped, they're not going to need all those people, especially with a better process. So that's where I'm thinking they have to have a $20 per card type of service.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. Did they overshoot with all this hiring and all this stuff? Like that'll be kind of interesting to see like in a couple of years,
Because it's a giant rush now, but it's not like there's going to be 90s and 2000 stuff sent at this pace going forward. This is the time that everyone dug out their closets and sent in everything imaginable for $10 a card. And now they overcompensate.
This is like the content creator live show.
I know.
Neo.
Dude, is there nothing else to watch?
I haven't talked to Boris in weeks, and all of a sudden there's Boris. Pittsburgh.
What's up, Pittsburgh?
Everybody showed up. Ziggy's in here. Ben Carlos is in here.
Wow. Oh man, Ben's in here. Damn, what the hell?
Yeah.
So there's got to be nothing else on TV right now, which is great.
So the Mavs are playing the Nets right now. So I think that's we're competing with a big game tonight. Brad is that weird uncle. Troy is the man. Troy has always got my back. Love it. But no, that's actually a really interesting point that Andy had made. It's like, maybe moving forward, those pop reports are a little bit lower for a graded kind of like not an uncommon card, but they're just not being sent in to be graded. So there'll be a period of time maybe, to where it's scarce on the pop report, but it's not scarce, and like what's that raw price going to look like compared to the graded price and blah, blah, blah.
I would imagine there would be a delay of a player that, and I said this before, where if you have a player that is not a top 5 or 10 pick, that people are very doubtful that they're going to turn out to be something special, only a few people that believe in that player are going to send them in at $30 a card if it goes back to 30 a card. And then if that player comes off the bench and has a couple great games in a row, they're going to be one of the few sellers to sell these second rounders or late first round picks because they'll have some PSA 10s while everyone else has the raw version that they'll then be flooding PSA with, trying to get it back really quick. But it's not like before where for $10 a card, you just throw in anyone. And you're like, look, I'll get my $10 back if it's a 9, if it's a 10, if it's a year from now. I'm $14 in altogether or $17 in altogether, break even at worst case scenario. But now it's definitely more of a high risk, high reward.
All right. So one question I saw that was a good one, and we can kind of go ahead and hit on it, was what are our targets going to be at the Dallas show? So I think Steve might have already said something on his channel about it, but me, Brad, Steve, Boris, maybe others as well are going to be in Dallas. So
I'm ready.
I'm glad you already got your outfit picked out, weirdo.
This was a Halloween outfit. I don't know if that's on straight either. Let's see. There we go. This was a Halloween outfit. I was the Marlboro Man a couple of years ago, and then I got lazy and did the Marlboro Man again, but forgot the cigarette. And then when I go down Boys Town in West Hollywood, I'm Brokeback Mountain. But, it's flattering.
Hey, do you, brother?
All right, so what are you focusing on? What's the answer to the question?
I don't really want to say because I also don't want to be – because, like, what I want is very specific. So, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm probably going to shoot myself in the foot here with this. But, and then also anybody that's watching, listening, whatever, if you are a seller, hit me up. All right, so I'm going to be specifically targeting a Baker Mayfield National Treasures rookie card. Some sort of, I'm not necessarily – I haven't decided yet on, patch auto, all that stuff. I'm open to kind of all of them, so we'll see what it looks like there in Dallas. There's some stuff on eBay, but it's like it's either like, $500 or it's $10,000 for, and I'm not paying 10 grand for it. So,
okay. So let
me know.
Why? Like, what's the thought process behind that? Because that's very, very specific and something that no one would have guessed.
I think that, part of it's probably, the confirmation bias. My in-laws are big Browns fans. They're in Dayton, Ohio. So I bought and sold Baker over the last couple of years. I've been in I bought a lot of Baker when they started out 2-6, not this past season, but the season before, where they picked up Odell Beckham and they just started off with Freddie Kitchens and had a really awful year. I was buying during that season. I bought a lot of his stuff. And then I've just bought and sold, kind of over time. I still have some of his stuff left, but I've been thinking about like which guys are going to be there when there's no Tom Brady, when there's no Drew. Now we're in a Drew Brees era where everyone was afraid of Drew Brees, and now he's gone. But what's going to happen post Tom Brady? It's kind of like what we're all talking about. What's going to happen post LeBron? That's why everybody's picking up Donovan Mitchell's and Tyler Heroes and whatever. It's because at one point, sometime in the next couple of years, these guys are not going to be in the league, and there's going to be other people that are winning championships. So for me, Baker Mayfield and the Browns are kind of that. And you know what? Browns fans are diehard fans. They're like Saints fans. They're not like Bucks fans. They're not come and go like Bucks fans, where like they haven't watched in 20 years. They're like, oh my God, we have a team.
That flag is from 1997, the first year they switched over from the creamsicles. I have had that in my childhood room since I was a kid.
I wasn't even talking about you. I don't know why you're getting so defensive.
Okay, so Baker Mayfield, I will say the Browns are one of those teams where I think even if you're a fan of another team, you try and root for them just because they've always had a tough go at it. It's not like the New England Patriots for years where you're like, oh man, like anyone but them. Or like in baseball, anyone but the Yankees. As long as anyone but the Yankees or anyone but the Red Sox wins, I'm good with that. I think people do like the Browns and feel bad for the Browns, the Bengals, some of those teams that always just have it rough. Okay, that's a very specific pick. I can't even think of anything specific.
Tom Brady's. And my Tom Brady's. I'll be on the Tom Brady kick. All right, go ahead. Your turn.
I mean, here's the thing is I'm looking at football prices now because the draft is over with. We have the NBA playoffs coming up. We have NHL playoffs coming up. We have summer going on. We have Olympics coming up. We have a lot of reasons to forget about football up until July. And that's going to be the last window because rookies report to training camp July 8th, I believe. And that's going to start the hype around football. And I think the NBA playoffs end July and sometime in July as well. And once NBA ends, then the focus has got to shift somewhere else. So whatever I can get in football right now for the next month or two, I'm going to get. And then I want to offload it all and then do the same thing with basketball during the off season and just do these like gigantic 1 month, liquidate everything, get the profit I can, break even on some that I misfire on, and then do the same thing with basketball. Because remember, and I want to talk about the state of the market a bit because I know there's a lot of cards that are going down in price. But remember, October, November last year, we had this discussion with a lot of these cards that were so damn cheap. Everything. Anthony Davis had won, LeBron James had won, and yet their cards were super low, and we couldn't really make sense of it, except if you look at the conditions in society, we had stimulus checks that were already dispensed or dispersed in September, so we were away from that. We had an election coming up, which always gets people fearful, and especially this election where it's very controversial and divisive and whatnot. And, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You're afraid that the world will end if the other side wins.
Right.
And we also had holiday spending coming up the day after Thanksgiving. So everything looked like the perfect storm. And right now I'm thinking to myself, is this another perfect storm area where we have NFTs taking the main stage for everything? That's the new hot thing. Gary Vee has not talked much about sports cards lately. He's talking about NFTs. We have summer coming up where we can actually travel. People are getting vaccinated so they can actually feel good about going to restaurants and doing all these things they didn't do before. They need to do these things. They need other escapism. Is this the time to buy before travel season's over, school begins again, and everyone is in their home when weather cools down, and now cards are super hot again?
Yeah, I think too, and I saw a good take on the NBA season. The NBA season to me, outside of like tonight's game, I've got it kind of over here on the wall, the Nets Mavs where it's close and everything, but a lot of the stars are sitting out or they're injured, so it's kind of boring. It's kind of a boring middle of the season, type NBA. There's not really a lot of excitement in the NBA right this second. And when we're in Dallas, NBA playoffs are going to be kicking off or right there. But I think that's a perfect football buying opportunity. That's a perfect, because it's going to be all eyes on the NBA. And I think that will be the sliver. That will be the cool off period for football. You won't have the draft. It'll be right before. It's kind of the dark period for the NFL where they don't have training camp yet. You don't have preseason yet. You don't have a whole lot going on. You have baseball and you have NBA playoffs.
And you have NHL playoffs. And even if NHL doesn't take much money from cards, it still takes some time on SportsCenter. Because if you're SportsCenter or you're one of these media outlets, you got to cover NBA playoffs, number one. You have NHL playoffs you got to cover. I think you have Euros, so you're going to cover that. You have the Olympics coming up. You have a lot of things. And it's very easy to say, look, unless it's an Aaron Rodgers trade rumor or something like that, who cares about NFL right now? Because once this is over with, everything is going to shift to football, attention and money and all that kind of stuff. So I'm in the same boat. If it's got to be in the next couple weeks, maybe throughout June max, throughout June. But as the NBA playoffs get further and further in, and there's only 2 or 4 teams, I would be already wanting to be stocked up. I don't want to be buying when there's only 2 or 4 teams left.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's interesting times. Oh, big announcement. I should probably go ahead and say this before we kind of get too deep into it. So I have partnered with Pure Graded X, the new grading company, Carson, and we're going to have collectible slabs that are coming out. Series 1, numbered out of 499. So these are ungraded. So strictly for encapsulation, for protection for your cards. I'm going to send out probably a flyer. I'll have some more stuff on this over the next few days, but there will be a link to their website to be able to order if you're interested. But simply for, people that want to have a card protected, not graded, so it's going to be $12.99 per slab or 2 for $20. And they look very, very close to a PSA slab as far as the thickness and the dimensions and everything else. So stay tuned. You'll get more information on all that, but I wanted to kind of put that out there. I'm excited about it. Brad's probably going to buy like 50 of them. I mean, because they are collectible, they are numbered.
I'm going to flip them. I'm going to get you to autograph them. I'm going to flip them. It's like, wait, it went down in value? How did my slab go down in value?
Yeah, we have this thing where it's just like, hey, it's just to protect your cards, and then it turns into like this humongous thing where it's being flipped and on the secondary market.
The PFD case makes it on the card ladder and market movers.
So they're PFD 11s to kind of play up the 1 to 10.
Dude, yeah, anyone can go to 10. You got to go to 11. So
absolutely.
When my version comes out, definitely going to 12. Definitely 12.
It's going to be fun. So you'll see more on that, guys. If that's of interest, or if you know people that are interested in just the protection piece, obviously grading prices are going up. So if you just need the protection, not necessarily the grading, PFD slabs coming to you.
But see, this is the kind of thing where I say, look, if we can go to the National or we go to one of these Dallas shows in the future and we have a whole box of personal finance dad slabs and we could just sell them for like a couple bucks, just a novelty slab that goes up to
a couple of bucks, Brad. What are you talking about?
What about $10 each? $10
Dude,
bucks.
It's gonna be like Top Shot. No one's touching them, and then all of a sudden it's $10,000 a piece.
Yeah. Hey, well, dude, you number them. If you number each one to $499 or to $1,000, then hey, who's gonna get that number one out of 1,000 PFD slab?
So, Michael, this is kind of something that I've talked about doing as well with this. So this one will be kind of series 1, kind of just the logo. I'll send it out to you guys. It's going to be awesome. But it's going to have kind of a, I don't want to call it like Garbage Pail Kids element to it, but kind of a, like
a garbage element, definitely a garbage element.
Like a to the moon or some, a funny saying on the slab. There will be other slabs like that we're going to put out, just to have some fun with it. So yeah, stay tuned. There should just be a picture slab. I like it.
That speaking of which, this is a good transition though. You saw a picture of me earlier this week.
Yep.
Do you want to share the picture?
I don't have. Do you have it?
No, I thought you were going to bring it up.
Oh no, I don't have it to bring up.
Okay.
So Brad was in an ad. Shoot, I should have planned better for this. Next time.
You really should have, Dustin.
Next time. I think 4 people sent me the same picture of you. And just tell the story. What was it of? You did a commercial.
Well, I'd like to pull it up. I just have no idea where it was found. So it's a shoot for the Venetian. You really need the picture of it, though.
You know what? Save it for the next one. Let's explain it, and then we'll save it, and we'll bring it up on the next one.
Yeah, that's Big Boy Cards and Collectibles. It's the teaser for next week. Okay. Because I had a sweet rebuttal, but now that you don't even have the original, then I can't even use the rebuttal. I'll have to save that for a couple weeks from now.
I want ribs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Michael Hamm was the first one that commented on a live stream on it. But yeah, if you have the link to it, then share the link. Because I don't know where that appeared. But anyway.
I mean, I put it in one of my videos making fun of you a couple days ago, but that's all I've got for a link.
And I would have seen it, but there was probably 9 videos that day, and I didn't want to go through every single one to see which one I was mentioned in.
By the way, speaking of this, I've noticed this, and you know what? We're going to start. You know what? We're going to start doing this. Well, I'm going to do it, Brad. You probably won't.
Probably not.
But I've noticed that other content creators are taking like a 60-minute live or a 60-minute interview and chopping that up into like 3 or 4 minute videos, and then titling that up and putting it out there. Hey guys, if you want to play that game, we can. I'm going to put out 30 30-second clips every single day, 30 for 30 every single day. I love it.
Oversaturate everyone's YouTube feed.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, it's going to be like you have 500 subscriptions, but I'm on there 400 times. Actually, I'll probably lose half my subscribers, but
see, I think that's what needs to be on your custom slab. Is something like me again, or make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your neighbor, tell your barista, call your grandma, tell her about the station.
What's that scene on Wedding Crashers where the girl's like, oh God, what did she say to what's the guy's name? I'm like completely drawing a blank, but she's like,
there's many girls and many guys.
Don't leave me. Or she's something like,
I'll find you.
Yeah, that's going to be on a slab. I'm putting that on a slab.
At first I was like, are you talking about Will Ferrell screaming for the meatloaf? But I was like, okay, different reference there. All right. Well, back to cards. In terms of prices dropping, what's your take on that? Because I shared with you my take, but do you feel like it's any different? Do you think it's like a bit more serious than that?
I can't really figure it out. I can't figure it out. I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago too. I mean, I can't figure out if it's just a normal market dip or if it's, kind of a permanent thing where we're going back to, a couple of years back. Everything's got a new floor, kind of what we talk about, but is it going to be kind of more, a little bit more flat for the next little bit? I do think though that the market's gotten so much attention that it's not, I don't think it ever goes back to what it was previously. No. But I don't know if it's going to be the wild roller coaster ride that we've seen, for the last 18 months.
I mean, I didn't think it was going to be that crazy high of a spike either coming into 2021. And then we saw that in January, February with all the 80s, 90s. And that just tells me people get caught up with the hype very easily because all they need is one thing to latch onto to get into it and then think that they'll be the ones that sells before it crashes. And then, of course, some of them are right and then some of them are wrong. But the way I think of it, too, is when I think of all the breakers out there and all the card shops that are really good at marketing their businesses, they should be marketing for breaks right now versus singles. Like the ones that sell singles and the ones that have breaks, this is the time to break product. But there's certain card shops where I go, you know what, you're buying a lot of this specific card. And the second you want to advertise that you think this is a good buy, then.
Sorry, Eric.
Yeah. Sorry, Eric.
I don't know if you're kidding or not. I hope you're kidding, but
at least you got us. At least you got us if you're not. But it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of the influencers, ourselves included, if we want to push something, then people will react, and it just takes one of those sparks. And I think some of the influencers or people with influence are doing a lot of breaks right now, like card shops and whatnot, where singles don't really make sense for them. They're probably buying singles now, and when they want to sell a certain single of a player, that's when they'll market it. But there's a couple examples in my mind. I don't want to mention names, but it's just like I could see people react to that card shop's Instagram or YouTube or podcast or whatever else, because people need information from somewhere, and a lot of people just follow whatever they hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think that right now is also just, I think it's a seasonal. I think that we're going to get more spikes and we're going to get more, action in cards. I just think it's kind of like what we talked about. NBA season is kind of boring right now, frankly. It just is.
It is horrible.
There's no NFL. You know what the NBA needs is a long off season. The NBA needs a long off season. That's what they need.
Remember, that's what we had when we got back in. It was the NBA season shutting down March 18th or something like that. And that was the off season leading up to the playoffs. So that was like a great time to just talk about what teams and players are undervalued, as you had a good idea as to who's going to be there in the end. But we just had months and months of anticipation. NBA right now is the exact opposite of anticipation, because even when a game is played, they're playing again the next day. They have a squash schedule, and you have a lot of the star players resting and injured and whatnot. It is boring because it's like, yeah, whatever happens today, oh, great, you won by 40 today. Great, you lost by 25 the next day. Oh, you won again by 32. Okay, well, now you lost by 18. And it's just back and forth. The one thing with football that's really cool is that we have a whole week to digest a game. So that builds up a lot of strategy and a lot of speculation as to what's going to happen the following week. But with basketball, by the time you think something's going to happen, they've played the next game already.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I don't really know what to make of the NBA season. It's just, it feels like a lot of the guys were hurt. It's just gotten boring. And I think that we just haven't had they need a break. I think everybody needs a break from basketball. But I think you did nail it. I mean, a lot of the excitement, or kind of the, the big push last year was when they suspended the season for 3 months. And in that 3-month time, everything went red hot wildfire. It's like, it's the weird thing that happens. It's the same thing when football season starts. You get all pumped up in preseason and everything else and the excitement. Then the season starts and it's like, all right, what else are we getting excited about next? Yeah. What's the next thing to get excited about?
Well, I mean, look, in NFL, we saw a couple of big streaks where Russell Wilson would have 3 games in a row looking like an MVP. But the difference is that 3 games in a row for a football player is 3 weeks, while in basketball, that could be 4 days or 5 days. So there's no time to exhale when watching the NBA. It's just constant absorb and try to analyze and then wash it clear the next day because there's something else going on. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not really interested. I thought I was going to be interested in basketball this year. And when you have a Super Bowl winning football team and a Stanley Cup winning hockey team, and you don't even have a basketball team that's from your city, which would be Tampa, but the next one over is Orlando, and they've just been horrible for the last 12 years. It's hard to even care. I mean, it's hard to care.
No, I mean, yeah, as a Bucks fan, you've got to be, it's like you don't think your team's going to win, even though the Bucks were absolutely stacked. I mean, preseason, the Bucks were a favorite to win, but if you're a team that hasn't won in a long time, it's like you don't believe that until it comes, until it actually happens.
And look, when you're supposed to win on paper, you never do.
Right.
It's one of those things where, like, yes, on paper, this isn't a game of Madden where you have like this wide receiver's in 92 ranking, this quarterback's in 94 and all this, and you can make chemistry happen because it's a video game. This is real life. So to me, I'm like, look, I'm just savoring that win. And we could talk about Bucks all the time, but rather talk about other stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. What are you going to, so did you say what you're targeting in Dallas? Particularly? Wait, actually, before you go into that, let's answer Dexflow's question here about Jerry Jeudy. I just don't think that Rodgers is going to get moved. I feel like it's just all kind of like smoke and mirrors. There's a bunch of media attention on it. I don't think that they can kind of let the cat out of the bag, or what is it? Put the genie back in the bottle, let the cat out of the bag. The cat's already out of the bag. the genie is out of the bottle. You can't put it back in. He's obviously unhappy there, but I don't know if he's going to sit out a season. Like, I just don't see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
There were some really interesting hypothetical trades I did see on ESPN where it's like Russell Wilson for Aaron Rodgers or like a couple solid swaps. I have no idea, but my thought would be if Jerry Jeudy is a good investment for you right now, I would go there. But to me, it'd be a long shot. Like any trade scenario seems like a long shot where I would invest. I would invest in Jerry Jeudy, period, if I believed in him and his season regardless. And it would just be an amazing return on investment if Aaron Rodgers did get traded. But yeah, to me, I'm like, I'm not going to play ifs, what ifs with something like this.
I'm going to pass on Jeudy too, Dex. I'm just, oh man, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. It's a good spec play, I guess, if you think that could happen. And really, honestly, even if it doesn't happen, the Broncos are kind of an interesting team. You never know, I mean, they could, and Jeudy he's a good player. It's just a matter of, are they going to be good? And is he going to get touches and all that stuff? I guess depends on price point too. Where is prices?
Yeah. In terms of Dallas, though, if you're talking about Dallas, here's the thing. Even when I go to card shows here, I notice a lot of the vendors sell what is pretty hot, and that makes perfect sense. And that's what I would be doing as well. So it's not like I can go in there and want to buy rock bottom football cards. I wouldn't expect to. So in Dallas, I'll probably look up a handful of players and cards. Nothing specific that I know of now, but I think Mahomes is an easy target just because I don't have many Mahomes cards. And I have Lamar Jackson. I have some of these other guys. So it's more about like what at that one specific period do I feel like I can get a good deal on? And I'd probably be going 2018 or earlier, none of the newer stuff. Kyler Murray's another guy whose prices went up over the last couple months, and now his Prism PSA 10 is starting to soften again. And if it hits that 380 to 415, 420 mark, I'd probably buy a couple more of those because I feel like even if I sell at the beginning of the year, I probably could make $100 per card without risking much, just because the card, the Prism PSA 10 had gone up to about 580, 590. I bought at 360 to 390, 400. And I was like, all right, that's a good price as the pop report increases because it's a 2019 rookie. But if I can get a few more around 400, I don't think it's going to go lower than that before the season starts. But also I anticipate being pretty busy meeting people. So to me, I would rather not buy anything and then just meet a lot of people. I'm still really curious though. I want to know how tall you are, Dustin, because I feel like you're either 4'9" or 6'11", and I can't tell which one it is, but that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
I'm 7 foot, right on the nose. Yeah. Boris,
KFC?
No sense. Yeah.
Oh,
says, don't be surprised if Herbert doesn't win an ST. It's a guard. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing with it's like so many quarterbacks. You really have to. It's all of it's risky. Obviously, it's all speculative, but you're really kind of playing that. Can they win with their team? Are they? If you look at Herbert, he got a lot of hobby love. His stuff is fairly expensive. He could very well have a sophomore slump, come back down to life type season. That happens. That happened to Baker
Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not a big fan of buying Herbert or some of these guys where they've had a really good year, because a part of me says like the term sophomore slump exists for a reason. What are the odds that you are going to do better next year and the defenses you face won't have improved against you?
It's a good point. I always say San Diego. My bad, Mosaic Mind. I know I can't get past it. All right. So you're buying football in Dallas.
If it's there, but yeah, the thing for me is I just want to do these like seasonal approaches for now, where I don't want to risk too much. I don't want to go too far in the future thinking I want to have this for the next year or 2 years when I have no idea where the market or the macro economy of the US or of the world is in 2 years. So I'd rather do these let me think 6 months out, 8 months out, and feel good about that, than think too long term. And even if a card is a good long-term investment, it would have to be like an 8-year return instead of a 2-year return, because the whole economy crashes. So all football, liquidate, get what I can. And then once I liquidate, probably July or August, hone in on basketball and find out what is on sale, what, as everyone's thinking about football and baseball and everything else, see what I can get basketball wise and roll it over, and then get ready for the start. And that's another interesting thing. We don't have the start of the next NBA season, do we?
We don't know when it's going to be. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I kind of assumed that it was going to go back to normal, kind of like, October-ish, if they end in June. I just assumed that would be it. I don't know.
I thought they end in July. I'd have to check the actual date, but I thought they end in July, in which case I thought to myself, well, July, and then the Olympics end in August. And there's a lot of NBA players that are going to be playing for not only Team USA, but for all these other countries. And so then you think about it, well, man, now that ends in August, and you only have September and half of October until then the next NBA season. That's not an off season at all. So my thought process was that if the last NBA season started December 22nd, something like that, 24th, something like that, maybe they try to wean themselves back to the original date and start around Thanksgiving, so it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they might. And also, I kind of wonder too, if there's a high percentage of people that have been vaccinated, will they go back to stadiums with fans? Will the NFL go back to that as well? I could see that. I mean, maybe they don't have 80,000 people there, but maybe they've got 50,000 people that are kind of spread out a little bit or whatever. I mean, I could see that.
Financially, I think they have to, because they're losing so much money from not having fans there. So
Boris is going to be playing Pokemon Go the whole time we're in Dallas.
Well, I'll be filming him. Boris and I are bunking up.
Hey, guys,
we're splitting a room.
I know, Sasha T and some of these guys put out some pretty impressive vlog type video, but you guys haven't seen anything yet until you see our Dallas footage. I hope I'm not building that up too much, Brad, but there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes, stuff. It's going to be interesting. It might not be all card. It might be semi entertaining. So keep an eye out for that.
It's going to be like Jackass. There's not going to be any big deals done. We're just going to be like antiquing each other and, playing pranks on each other. That's pretty much it.
I kind of hope that I can buy a card from Sasha T in Dallas on video, but I don't know if I can afford any of his cards, though, to be honest.
So this is what I'll do. I'll sell Sasha T one of my Tom Brady base Chrome cards for $7 that he could then flip to you for $14. How does that sound?
We're going to be on Sasha T's video, basically like, hey, I bought these cards from these guys, and then 30 minutes later, I sold them for 5 times the amount at the show.
Yeah. We have like a post show. So what'd you buy, Dustin? I got this base Tom Brady Chrome 8th year card for $46. What'd you think?
Sasha gave me this amazing deal.
No, I'm gonna be negotiating like this. I'll be like, I'll give you 8.5 for it. I know the last comp was 10, but I'll give you 8.5, and then I just pull out $8.50.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's it.
That is awesome. Oh man. All right. Well, we're going to attempt to put out some entertaining video in Dallas. Hopefully it's, I can't guarantee that it's going to be the same sort of quality as what you might see from some of the others, but I will have a cameraman there with me. One of my buddies is going to come out there with me. So I will have someone that's kind of holding the camera, but we're going to give it a shot.
Well, we're all used to your high standard of production, Dustin. So the bar is set
probably going to be 300 shorts.
Yeah. I'm actually looking up the end date. Okay, I have July 22nd as the last day possible of the NBA playoffs. So remember that July 8th. No, hold on a second. When do rookies report? Okay, July 21st, the day before. So the NBA playoffs could be over July 21st, but that is the day the NFL rookies report to training camp. So if you guys don't know what the summer plans are, it is a wild summer, but July is like the craziest month. Lots of soccer, NBA ending, NHL ending, and football actually having some worthwhile news. So just keep that in mind, because I think that's going to be the end of buying time for NFL.
Big boy nailed it. Blair Witch Project. That you really nailed it with that comment. Yeah, that's another thing. Are you interested in, I know that you're kind of looking at where's the value, soccer cards. I mean, is there a play for you for soccer cards, or have you stayed away from it?
I've stayed away because I don't know soccer. However, the only cards I bought in the past were the Messi and the Ronaldo Prism 9s, only because the prices weren't going below 110, 120 bucks for like 2 months straight. And so I just figured I'd buy up a lot, and worst case scenario, I'd just liquidate at cost. And if David Hunter is on here still, shout out to David Hunter, who's helped me with my newsletter. He has Neymar's Prism PSA 9 from 2014 as one of his picks, because it's like $75. And even if Neymar is not Ronaldo or Messi, it's one of those value buys where you're like, man, it's a PSA 9 of this iconic year. He's still a worldwide, talented player, and it's $78, $79. It's one of those times where I start looking into it, because again, for that price, I could buy 10 of them. I could buy 20 and hopefully do the same thing as before, even if I just sell for $100 or 120. There you are, David.
Yeah. How much are you doing? Because I know you so when you got back in, you started doing a lot of kind of the smaller flips, like the ComC stuff and buying from Beckett, selling on eBay and all that sort of thing, Beckett Marketplace. Mm-hmm. Are you focused more on kind of that stuff, or are you buying, larger cards and, doing that bit?
Larger. I haven't been on Beckett in a long time. And ComC, here's the thing with ComC. ComC has not changed at all since I started using it, while StarStock is changing every single week. But I'm in this habit. I'm in like this routine of just going on ComC, searching a couple players, going through my process of highest percentage off, rookie cards, see if there's anything, buy a couple. I will say I have bought a good amount of football on ComC, and I'll probably continue to do that. But it's one of those things where every time I'm on there, I think to myself, I need to be using my time better, because it's fun going for a $4 card and turning it into 12. Yeah. But it's also costing me time, as I could be doing that same process on a $300 card that can make me $150. So I'm looking at it more of like a fun little thing to do at night. But then most of my time is wake up in the morning, look at all the eBay sales that are ending, all the auctions that are ending that day, going on and looking at the prices on Card Ladder and Market Movers and seeing what price I want to pay, and setting a timer for the auctions. And once the auction goes off, I know, okay, this is my max price. And if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. And I think now more than ever, I'm looking at a lot of cards that I feel like are good buys, even if I'm not a big fan of the player, just because I'm looking at it from an inventory state. I'm looking to lose 9 out of 10 auctions. I think that's the thing, is I want to lose 9 out of 10, because if I win more than that, I'm probably not getting a steal. And there's a lot of good deals out there, or there's a ton of decent deals when prices are low, but I'm looking for that one that I go, man, I feel like that was a steal. So if I can get one of those every couple days, then I'm happy.
Yeah, that's a good way to play it. It's just kind of like you're always, if you win, you're buying very low in your mind. So you always feel like you're getting a good price. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. For those that are going to card shows, it's kind of a chat question, and I don't know if it'll be any different in Dallas, but are the deals, I've heard two different trains of thought. Are the deals on the first day or the last day? What is kind of because I know that people on the last day are trying to move inventory. Typically they bought a table there, they brought all their stuff. They want to sell. At the same time, though, I've heard on the first day, that's kind of when there's also that excitement of, getting in and selling. I would be curious to know if anyone has any kind of tips or experience with that recently.
I'd like to know that as well. And I think I asked Boris the same thing. And there's Boris, if you're still on here, let me know what your answer was. Dealer night. Okay, so that's Thursday night.
What is dealer night?
That's the night that you're not going to actually be there because you decided to fly in late.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is why I told you to fly in earlier. So
Unreal.
But the question is that the better night for deals, or are those just the cards that people want more because they're like, if I could find this one card like the Baker Mayfield RPA, and you're like, well, more than likely that's not going to last the whole weekend. So maybe I don't get the best deal on it, but I want to make a deal tonight because it's the first exposure to the card, and I don't want to let this card be on display for the next 72 hours. While on the flip side, last couple hours of the show, kind of like the last couple hours of a garage sale or what else, like all these events, you think, all right, just move what you can, make some profit, pack up less, and you're good. And maybe the last day is better for like the cards that are more common, and you can move those cards and they can still make some money. You can get a better deal, but the rarer cards, maybe that's the beginning of the show is best for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of play that, see how that. Oh, let's see what did Boris say here. Dealers selling to other dealers. They typically will take less for quick profit to buy other things. Okay. And that's what dealer night is, I guess.
So my question is, if I wear this hat in Dallas, will this help my negotiating skills? Will this help how I'm perceived, or will it hurt?
Yeah, I don't think people are going to sell to you, man.
I'm America, man. This hat is awesome, by the way. This is a great hat. I think it's called
is it made out of leather or something? It looks
no.
quality.
No. I think it's called like tea stained. You can get it on Amazon, but you see how it's brown? I think it's like tea, like a tea bag, like tea stained, something like that.
Come on,
I love it. It's a great hat.
Come on, bless some breaks. I've been talking to other people as well. All right. Michael doesn't like Baker Mayfield long-term. Define long-term, Michael. That could be 10 years. I mean,
3 months.
Short-term and long-term, the definition for each person is different on that. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the point where I'm like, look, even I don't want to buy anyone long-term until I know what the card market is going to be long-term. But when you look at prices of where it was 18 months ago, it's like, okay, well, even a Tom Brady BGS 9.5 2000 Bowman Chrome was probably like $1,000 back in December 2019, and now it's, I don't know, 25 grand or just whatever number.
Okay, so Michael's throwing it out as longer than 2 years is considered long-term. I mean, some people think like 10, 15 years is, long-term or more. So to me, 2 years is fairly short. I mean, it depends on, but you know what? I think that you can be adaptable with that too. I buy players that I'm okay in the short run and the long run is what I try to do. So for me, I look at a Baker Mayfield. Am I okay having that in 6 months and 2 years? Do I want him for 10 years? Maybe not. Maybe not 10 years. Maybe not 5. But I think you can be adaptable with that too. So, if he wins a Super Bowl, or if he's playing in the Super Bowl, maybe I'm looking to sell at that point. So I think you can kind of be adaptable depending on what's going on.
So even someone like Tom Brady, though, I like Tom Brady, obviously, but as an investment, he's the best of both, because I would rather buy Tom Brady now, let's say in the next month or two, where you believe it's just going to be as low as it gets before the season starts, and sell if it goes up 30% before the season. And then maybe, God forbid, it would be horrible if he gets injured or he slumps the first couple weeks for whatever reason, or maybe a couple injuries really hurt the team, and then go in and buy again and then sell again. And the thing is, it's the same thing as holding long-term, except you get to buy every dip and sell at every peak. And I'd rather do that just with Tom Brady or anyone, because I don't know what the market's going to be, but might as well sell at a profit, buy in when it's low, and continue to do that.
I like this, Michael. I get that. And that's a popular strategy. I've done that too. I bought a lot of Tom Brady recently. I've got Brees stuff. Obviously, I'm a diehard New Orleans Saints fan, so I've got Brees stuff.
And Peyton, I bought a lot of Peyton.
Yeah, and I've been looking at Peyton Manning too. So I get that strategy. It makes sense. It makes sense. I get it.
Peyton Manning's cards have plummeted. And I mean, I get it. It's all the 90s, 2000 stuff that went through the roof back a couple months ago. And so everything is soft. But I want to pull up a Peyton Manning, the one that I bought, because if you guys didn't see it, it's like lower now than not only was what it was back in January, but way lower than what it was in August of last year when we had that first bubble. So let me see if I could pull it up. Keep talking.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Troy, I hear I'm with you on Mahomes. I like Mahomes better than Mayfield, but Mahomes' prices, though. I mean, you're paying a premium for Mahomes. It's not like he's snuck up on anybody now. You're not getting his rookie, especially his rookie cards. His rookie cards are not they're not cheap. Mm-hmm. They're really not. Seth, so here's the thing though, is I feel like I've been hearing about Durant for months. It's like everybody is gearing up for this Nets championship. So again, it's all about price. It's all about price for Kevin Durant. It's like, I guess if you got in, early on some of the Durant stuff, maybe preseason or whatever, but middle of the season and now I just feel like everybody, especially with LeBron hurt, I kind of feel like everyone's just ready to give the Nets the championship, which very well could happen, but it's all about price.
It's all about price. And also the other thing I think of too is how many people out there are going to ride the Kevin Durant train to the end, as in to the finals or whatever round they get to, and how many are going to offload before the playoffs start because they've heard us and so many others talk about dumping at playoff time. Well, if everyone dumps at playoff time, now all of a sudden there's 500 listings of that card on eBay, and now you don't even get that much of a profit because you're offloading the same time as everyone else. So that's always something that's in my mind, because I don't know how advanced the next person is in their thinking. Are they just, hey, I'm going to hold it, and when they win, it's going to go up? When in actuality, we've seen when the players win, the card prices go down after they won because there's nowhere else to go.
Right. That's my worry with Durant stuff. I think Durant stuff is expensive, and so that's kind of the, I guess the concern, or a reason why I'm not buying it. 60 minutes in, what a journey so far. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, Brett. Hopefully a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to take
is it a journey like Lord of the Rings, like going through hell, or is it a journey like,
Brett's like, I don't know if I can. He's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this.
Let me share the Peyton Manning cards, and this is something where I go, look, Peyton Manning is not exciting by any stretch of the imagination. I think you have to allow it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Not exciting at all, but this is his Bowman Chrome Psa 10. There's only 989. The last price was $809. I bought this one here at $710 along with 4 others. But overall, what I like is that not only is it way less than 1,800 and 2,000, but it's less than the August spike. So this right here at 809 is actually just a bit higher than where we were a year ago. So like at 650, right? So to me, I'm like, well, for a guy like Peyton Manning, who's as solid of an investment as it gets because he's proven on the field and he's still relevant off the field, I don't know what the downside is. I just feel like worst case scenario, it's a bit longer for a payoff because I can't think of a reason why his prices would go up. But that's the kind of stuff I'm looking at now.
Yeah, I think, Larry, it's both. When buying a card, ask yourself, what is the upside, not how much is it? I think it's both of those things.
It's in downside. It's upside and downside.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I saw Global Alex was talking about buying in multiples. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's risky though. I mean, look, I bought multiples of Ryan Finley rookie cards, and I still have those. I still have my Mason Rudolph rookie cards. So it's all about, now look, granted, I bought those when I was, that was, I knew what I was getting into. I knew I knew it was risky. So, but I agree. If you believe in a player, I do that. If I believe in a player, I believe in a card, and I believe in the price point, I buy 3 or 4 of them, unless it's expensive. If it's $1,000 a card, I'm not, but if it's $100 a card, I'll try to get a few of them.
Well, the thing is, it's the price point. Everything is the price point. I mean, a Michael Jordan rookie card at $700,000 is not a very good price point when the next couple sales are $400K. Now,
but Larry, I hear you. Larry is the biggest Patrick Mahomes fan ever. This guy comes at me all the time with Mahomes. Look, I mean, a beach house on Malibu also is beautiful and has a lot of nice, upside as well. But I mean, it's expensive to buy a beach house on Malibu.
But and the other thing too is Mahomes has a ton of upside, and he has a Super Bowl ring, and he's been to another. He has a ton of upside. I'm still waiting to see a time when he slumps or gets injured or something like that as like the golden opportunity where the prices go down. Right now, it's like, why do you just keep, you keep going up, which means eventually even like the greats get injured or even the greats have a slump. So, great overall player to invest in, but I want that window where people start, like Kevin Durant getting injured. That was a great opportunity to get in before the season when you're like, all right, he's coming back from an injury, stock up now, and he comes back from an injury.
Yeah, there's guys like Jason Tatum and Trae Young, and I actually saw, I think Jeff at SCI was talking about Trae Young today or yesterday. I guess he's getting like his own shoe. He's getting his own sneaker or something. But, the Hawks are going to the playoffs. They probably will be going to the playoffs. And basically, he was kind of making the case for Trae Young being inexpensive. And Jason Tatum's another one of these young guys. That's a lot of those prices have come down. Is it a speculative play? Of course it is. It's not LeBron James, but Jason Tatum is a great player. I mean, like if you look at what his rookie cards cost, they're lower now than they have been in months and months and months. So interesting options out there right now.
Yeah. Well, are you investing for NBA at all right now?
I'm not right now, but a lot of it's just because I've been on that Exquisite National Treasures football kick. But there's a part of me that feels like I'm going to look back, and Bradley makes a good point here too with Luka stuff. It's like Luka, Trae Young, Jason Tatum. I kind of wonder if a few months I'm going to look back and be like, dang it, like I had that opportunity. That was a low point, and I didn't take advantage of it. I mean, those are guys that I feel like fairly, outside of getting injured, obviously, or whatever, fairly low risk.
See, the thing for me is like even Luka, to buy while his team should enter the playoffs, and who knows how far they'll go.
Off season for Luka. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, they're kind of entering into the playoffs. Now, I wouldn't be buying it right this second, but over the last month, over the last 30 days, and then also assuming they get bumped out of the playoffs, that's where you swoop in. So
that's where middle of summer for next year, I would just be going all in for next season because and also it's good when every team or 20 of the 30 teams are knocked out, because then you could say, look, it's not just this is the time to buy Luka. This is the time to buy Trae and Luka and Tatum and LeBron and all these guys that may not be in the playoffs for the finals. And now you have X amount of dollars with 20 decent players to go after. So can everything really go up? Probably not. With football starting, with it being the middle of summer and people being distracted by other stuff, Olympics, who knows? I don't know. That's the way I like to think of it.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I bought Tom Brady stuff kind of too late because if I had bought it, while they were on their Super Bowl run in the playoffs, ironically, I would have gotten a better deal than what it was like post, and now, honestly, I'll be buying Tom Brady in October. That's when I'm going to be looking to buy it.
Well, I mean, look, if you look at where the prices were last October, November, and I think that was a very unique situation with election and whatnot, but it was that slump period where the hype of the season is over because we're in the middle of it, and a lot of players have not lived up to those prices. So a lot goes down and only a few players really go up. Yeah, it's a good time to buy. But the other thing too is I have my eye on late October, early November, not only for that, but because of what happened last year, where I believe so many people are saving money in those months so they could spend a ton from the day after Thanksgiving to Christmas, that I want to see if that is the same thing. Because the amount of money that flooded the hobby late November all through December and January was insane. What are you smiling about?
I just feel honored that Patrick Mahomes is in our chat because Larry Smith is Patrick Mahomes. I'm calling it out. This dude I'm impressed by your Mahomes. I love it. I love how in on Mahomes you are. I love it. So yeah, keep at it.
I'm looking at Mahomes. I'm just waiting for a time to buy because I don't like when things just keep going up. I don't like, because that doesn't last forever.
Buy into hockey, says retirement for now.
I will do it off season. Dude, one player that I was looking at to buy into hockey of was Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning because it's a top NHL team with a top scorer that's been out the entire season that should be back by playoff time. But even his Young Guns PSA 10 was going for about $500. And I'm like, I thought this would be a $250 to $300 card. This isn't even a household name. He's just a top scorer, but he's not like a brand like Crosby or Ovechkin or some of these younger guys. And I'm like, $500, I have no reason to believe that card will double again from 500 to 1,000. So I'd rather just wait till the off season.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah, you're pretty consistent with your off season plays. You know what? That's part of my problem is I get emotional. I make emotional buys.
You're so emo. Well, I could tell you're emotional from all your thumbnails, man. Coffee's hot. But here's what I noticed too, though, and I'm very conservative with this, but it's also because, and I think I speak for a lot of us, I don't know about the majority, but for a lot of us, is we're putting money that we had saved and earned outside of the hobby into it versus some people that have been in for years where they're playing with house money because they had $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 in 2018 that's ballooned up to $500K. So a lot of it's just house money at this point. For me, it's like, all those Peyton Mannings, that was $4,500 of money that I've saved by living in a shitty little apartment and eating Trader Joe's instead of Whole Foods. Huh?
Being a Bucks fan, just living like a Bucks fan.
Yeah, cheap, man. Natty lights and you know, I don't know what else. And faulty internet connections.
No, I got in 2018 is when I got back into the hobby. I think you got in kind of like beginning of last year.
It was February 2020. Yeah. So even in those prices, February 2020 were nothing compared to now. But if you look back to 2019 prices, you're like, this is nothing. Like, how could anyone make a living doing this when PSA 10 Kevin Durant rookie cards are $150?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the irony is when I got back in 2018, I went to comic books because there was more volatility in comic books because of all the movies that were coming out. You were kind of like speculating on who's the villain and blah 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 and whatever, and who's going to get a movie. And I looked at cards and I bought a Jim Brown rookie card, a Joe Montana rookie card. I bought some stuff, but man, I wish I had gone harder on cards. I went hard on comic books with some cards. I wish I had kind of flipped that. I would have been in good shape. I didn't do badly, but I would have been in better shape for sure.
I mean, but even now looking back, even getting in a year ago, I know I benefited from just having cards during that August bubble and during the January bubble and just having inventory then. But that's also why I'm conservative. And I think a lot of people are as well, because this is serious money that we had to make somewhere else to risk in this investment, hobby gambling type of game. And that's really scary when you know what it takes to make $5,000 at your job or side hustle outside of here if it doesn't pan out, versus it just being, well, it's $50 that grew to 500, that grew to 5,000, grew to 50,000, and now I can play at this level and not really care too much.
Thanks, Ryan, for throwing this in there. That was a question that I asked earlier, and I want to have you on the show. Send me an email. And it's in the video description, maybe not in this video description, but in one of the other ones. My email is there. This guy, Ryan, has some really, really great takes, and I wanted to get him on the show. I want to go back to, I'm going to have another subscriber spotlight is going to be next week with another person, and just going to start doing that a little bit more too.
Can you put up Ryan's picture again, his comment again? Kind of reminds me of Vanilla Ice.
The comment or his picture?
No, his picture. It doesn't say Ice Ice Baby as a comment, but have you seen Vanilla Ice?
Yeah, I mean, I know who you're talking about.
You don't see it?
No, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't get it.
Okay. I thought, all right, never mind.
Okay. All right. Well, that was weird. We'll just move on.
Awkward transition.
Yeah. I don't know how to come back from that, Brad. All right. Someone throw something in the comments because now I'm uncomfortable. All right, let's go back to Pat Mahomes. I mean, Larry Smith. Brady will break all the all-time records this year, so he has some upside. But I'm sorry.
That's as biased as I get. I mean, the thing is, the Bucs in the NFC may not make the Super Bowl, but again, they have more things going for them this year than they did last year. So, and Tom Brady, whatever he does post-career, he's going to succeed at it. Business, coaching, whatever.
That's what I was thinking too. Just like the guy's image is, well, I mean, now Deflategate and all that stuff. I know people are going to throw that in there, of course. Yes, but it's hard to knock the guy's accomplishments. It's hard. Yeah. It's very hard.
And I mean, dude, I think he's a very aspirational dude overall. It's not like, oh, this guy's like a jerk in real life. He has a horrible family life. Like he strikes me as a guy that people would get along with. They'd respect, things like that. So
what are your
rail cards?
50 grand. Man, 50 grand. 50 grand would be some serious, like, I mean, there's so many cards that you could get with 50, especially right now. Oh, I mean, I want a Jordan rookie. It's like, how would I spend that 50? You know, it's like spend it all on one, spend it on a few. I want a Jordan sticker rookie. I'm really echoey on your end, Brad. Can you turn the volume
down? I mean, dude, you're like, I can barely hear you.
All right, you're okay. That's better. I definitely want a Jordan.
Sit back further from the mic. Stop hovering over so much.
I also want a Luka Doncic blue numbered out. I think it's numbered out of 199. I think, or maybe I'm not sure, but the Prism blue rookie, that's a pricey one as well. That would be one. How about you, Brad? Do you have any Grail cards? You're more of an assassin, sports card assassin. You just kind of get in and out of stuff. You're like the Boba Fett of sports cards.
Real quick, Eric, absolutely you can. I saw your comment there. I can't put that up. Here's the thing. Even when I was a kid, though, my biggest joy as a kid was trading cards. It was not holding on to a specific card. So I think I've always had that investor mindset where playing the game of getting in and out of cards and seeing if I'm right and wrong is more fun to me than actually having a card. But with that being said, there is a Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski dual auto in the Buccaneer uniform. And I don't know if that's immaculate or what, but it's a beautiful card. I don't know how much it would cost. Definitely not $50K. I'd be very surprised if it's that amount, but that's one card I'd love to have just for myself. Brad,
I do. I've got a Walter Payton rookie and a PSA 6. It would be nice to have a higher grade. That is an awesome card. I love that card.
Dude, I every time you talk about vintage, I just think to myself, collecting Dustin, man. Personal Finance Dad was just such a horrible name compared to the play on words you had with your name.
Alexa, tell me a dad joke.
Your father is so super. Superman had to change his name to just okay dude.
I don't know if anyone could hear it.
No.
Alexa off. All right. It was too long. I couldn't repeat it.
Yeah, all right. Be honest. You don't have an Alexa. That was your wife.
Hurry, get back.
Her name's Alexa.
They can hear you. They can hear you. Actually, I will give my wife credit. She did text me like giving that suggestion. So I will give her credit for that. That was her idea.
Gotcha.
He's the real creative genius behind this whole thing.
All right.
All right. Go ahead, Brad.
And anything else you want to talk about? I really got to pee.
God, this dude, I swear, we try to plan these shows out. I put so much effort into this whole thing. Look,
you didn't even have my look. All right, in the comment section, what is worse, Dustin's background or the whole StreamYard background? They're just black. I mean, like, I get it, you're minimalist, but seriously.
I just turned on everybody's owl. I'm just gonna say owl because I don't want it. Yeah, okay. Marty, that's a card that was one that I just could not afford as a kid that was at the card shop in 1988, that Jordan sticker, the rookie sticker. And so it's just a nostalgia thing for me. Of course, I want the Jordan rookie, but I would like to have, honestly, I'd like to have both, but I just feel like the Jordan rookie is the price is just so high on it right now. I would kind of wait for a better time to get one. I would like just a regular Jordan rookie too.
This is what I wish. I know Upper Deck has the license to Jordan, but they've got to get Jordan out of that because that's BS that we can't have modern day Jordan cards. Right? I mean, like, to me, I think that's something that really needs to change. Panini needs to buy out the rights of Jordan cards from Upper Deck or whatever it is. Because what is Upper Deck even doing with that license right now? Can't they at least like pay to use the license for the next couple of years or something?
I think that's a big reason too why his inserts and his autos are so expensive, because there's just not that many of them. There's not like Kobe signed a lot of stuff. There's a lot of Kobe autos, but there's just not a lot of MJ autos, you know? So I think that's partly what pushes the price up on that stuff.
Yeah. I just think like that. Yeah. The exclusive stuff sucks, but especially on Jordan, you know, I mean, come on, like he is the most collectible player, period. And the fact that we can't have any new cards because Upper Deck, and it's like, Upper Deck, are you going to put out something? Can you at least put out like a Jordan series or remembering Jordan or like 20th anniversary or something like that?
Autograph mem. Yeah. I know. The thing is that autograph sports memorabilia has gotten so expensive compared to what it was. I wanted to get kind of a Brees signed helmet for like the man cave. I call it my secret volcano lair, Austin Powers. But man, that stuff has gone way, way up, way up. All right, guys, we're an hour and 20 minutes in. Brad's already drank 4 gallons of water and the hat's starting to really bother me. So I'm going to wrap this up. But thank you very much for joining. This might have been the most people I've had on a live, 230 or so, I think is what we got up to. So I know.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Dustin.
Patrick Mahomes. Larry Smith. It looks like Dustin is in a box. Maybe I am in a box.
Seriously.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. In 2 weeks, we will be back. Hey, are we going to be in Dallas in 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
I would have to look at the date. That'd be interesting. Let's see. 2 weeks from today, it's right before.
Okay.
So 2 weeks from today is the 20th. So we will be in Dallas. So if you guys are heading to Dallas and you want to kick Dustin's ass in person, he'll be there. I'll help you.
I'm literally Friday. I'm gonna have $9 of cash on me. So if you're gonna come and try, I'm not gonna have super mega cash on me, guys. So
Texas is gun friendly, right? But
right,
yeah, we'll be there, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll still do the off-centered show. It just might be in Dallas. We'll figure it out.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, maybe we will do that. That'd be a good theme. But thanks for hopping on, guys.
Bruston. All right. Have a good night, guys. Take care.
Right. See ya.